From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello and welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Wow Report, where we count down the top 10 topics of the week that make us go wow.
Wow.
I'm co-founder of World of Wonder, Fenton Bailey, joined by our Chief Creative Officer, Tom Campbell, and editor of the Wow Report, James St. James.
Hello.
Now, this is given that it is Black Friday, this is our special Thanksgiving post-Turkey Day special. And what we do on this special edition is we scrounge around for things that we are grateful for. I always find this the hardest episode to do because I'm just a miserable old witch.
I was going to say we are all basically cranky old crotchety men, and it's very hard for us to come up with something positive. For once a year, we have to be positive, and it's difficult.
Very difficult, but we managed to cobble some things together and show some gratitude at this Grinchy time of year. So, Tom,
and this will probably be the one episode out of the year where we're all very nice to each other, and we're all very warm and cuddly and loving.
I wouldn't count on it, Jay. I give us a few minutes before it descends. But I think we'll get through the first item with Tom nicely enough. Here we go, number 10.
Number 10.
I am grateful this year, this Thanksgiving season, for our president, Joseph Biden. Now, I don't think enough is said. We used to go on and on and on about the one that came before Biden, who will remain nameless. And he kind of warped our thinking and divided, not us necessarily, but I felt like he divided me from people I went to high school with, people or my family, extended family. And I feel like there is a healing with Biden and there is an underappreciation for President Biden. For instance, and I went from being kind of like the world is ending news junkie, watching everything, reading, talking, to feeling like, oh, we have an adult in charge, President Biden. So I don't have to try to run the country through my Facebook postings anymore, which has been a big relief, I got to tell you. But for instance, and I didn't watch Blow by Blow, but this infrastructure bill that just went through. Remember when the president before called for like infrastructure week?
Every other week was infrastructure week.
Yeah. Well, it actually happened under Biden. And you know what? Because it was a democracy, it was a compromise bill. It was something that people came together and voted, the majority voted on.
Which we haven't seen in a while.
And the news coverage that I saw, New York Times included headlines and things were like the chaos that surrounded the passing of this bill. I believe that that's called democracy. That's called the democratic process, that there are late minute deals and compromises. I would imagine that the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution came out of chaos. And, if again, I'm not a great student of history, but I know some things. And a lot of compromise and things happened to move things forward in an imperfect, but a great world. And I'm just so grateful for Joe Biden. The Catholic Church just came out today, or the American archbishops or something, about how redefining communion or just reemphasizing what communion was. And people were afraid they were going to politicize that and say that Biden was no longer could receive communion because he is open to people making their own decision about abortion and having that choice, pro-choice. And even though he's a practicing Catholic, and it didn't turn out that way. And I'm just so glad we have a God-fearing, experienced, imperfect president. There, I went on a try. Oh my God, I've talked for 10 minutes. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so thankful you didn't interrupt me.
James, I think you have an opinion here.
Well, I mean, he's not perfect. I mean, there's no way to get around that. He's an imperfect man. He was the right person at the right time. We needed to get away from the person before, but I worry that because he is not fulfilling all of his promises within the first 3 weeks of his administration. You know how
That's
the world
on
moves
us
now.
That's on us. I I think being a president is the worst job anybody could ever have. And the fact that he's taken it on, they're only going to fail. They're only going to be held up to the light to see what they didn't prove. I think what he could do better, or the people around him could do better, is messaging better.
That's my point. Like, why is it feels like you open the paper or read a blog or something, and everybody's beating up on him and saying his approval ratings are sinking. And I'm like, what is he doing? He's not doing anything wrong. He's doing lots of fabulous, fantastic things. But the messaging thing is a problem.
And that's that thing that I was saying before a couple of weeks ago about how the Democrats have a problem with messaging, and the Democrats have a tendency to squabble amongst themselves, whereas the Republicans do not do that. And the Democrats will not get things done because they're all busy squabbling. And you have the far left and the far right and the center.
But at the heart of democracy, as you know, is being a liberal and being part of a community that has L's and B's and T's and Q's and pluses, how diverse we all are and how our needs all kind of overlap and don't. So there is compromise and debate with amongst us, but we can't look at that as a lack of unity.
It's not a bad thing, but it's something that the far right latches onto, and they are good at messaging, and they are good at spreading their message that Biden is bad and he's not doing anything, even though he's a good man and he is accomplishing things. If the message is out there,
the infrastructure bill was 4 years in the making under the previous president. Nothing happened. In less than a year, it's passed, and there's more stuff coming. So I'm not getting political. I'm just grateful that we have a good man and a good woman as the vice president, and I'm hopeful for the future, and I want to continue to support them, which includes criticizing them, but support them as a president. I'm grateful for that.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you, Tom. See, we got through it politely and nicely. Number 9, James, what will you entertain us with?
Number 9.
I am thankful for the upcoming holiday season. I need a little Christmas right this very minute. I swear, the last couple of years, I have not been feeling Christmas. In 2019, it was right after my mother had passed away, and I had spent every Christmas for 52 years with my mom. And it was like the first year I was without her, and I was a little lost and unmoored, and it was a hard one to get through, and I didn't celebrate. And then last year in 2020, we were in the middle of the pandemic, and they were saying, don't get together, don't have family gatherings, and it was a scary time, and I didn't feel it then. And then on Christmas morning, of course, Michael Ehrlich passed away, and so that whole Christmas to New Year's chunk was spent dealing with that. So I wasn't able to soak up the holiday. And this year I am listening to 103.5, which is all Christmas music 24 hours a day from November to January. I have it on in my apartment. I have it on in my car. I have been decorating my house. My apartment. I got those little gel things that you stick on your window. I got them in Santa Claus and reindeers and presents. My windows are all done. I have a little tiny Christmas tree. I am like a little fake one. But I'm out buying Christmas presents. I have a little elf hat that I'm going to wear if a party comes up. I don't think I'm going to a party, but if I do, I can dress as an elf. I'm really feeling it this year, and it feels really good.
I love that. And what do you want for Christmas?
I have a list that I can text you after this is done. I will text all three of you.
On the Wow Report, James.
Is that what this was all about?
But Fenton, you don't have a choice. You have to be Christmassy every year. You have 2 children of that age, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. But I do love Christmas. And Elliot, who's 6, he loves Halloween. He loves horror and zombies and Bride of Chucky. And
he's going to be a little goth kid when he grows up? How fun.
We covered the house in spiders and bats. We went all out with the Halloween decorations. And I'm suddenly feeling it too, James. I'm really excited to get the Christmas tree out. Although I hear supply chain problems, there's a shortage of Christmas trees this year.
Oh, dear.
But I'm just living for it.
I think Americans complaining about supply chain is not one of my favorite things. It's like we have
save it for the next episode. No, Tom, Tom, keep
Because
it
we
good.
do have a
What
grumpy episode, don't we?
If we have a Bah Humbug episode, I'm
Yeah,
the
there
most
you go.
happy person alive.
But Tom, what are your plans this year? Do you have any fun plans?
I have not solidified them. I am taking advantage of Thanksgiving to go to New York for the first time. So that's the beginning of the holidays. And I will be seeing my brother and sister who are in New Hampshire, who I was able to see this summer for the first time, but I'm going to actually spend Christmas with them and my nephew, who's 7 and loves Christmas. So it's
Massachusetts
a
Christmas is probably very nice, as is in New York. New York in the holidays, the storefront windows and everything. It is pretty magical. So, so good. We're all feeling it.
We're all feeling it. And my number 8, James, is for you.
Number 8.
Mariah Carey is bringing you a little Christmas joy this year because she has teamed up with McDonald's to launch an entire menu for the 12 days of Christmas. So starting, I think, December 13th, there will be one item per day. You have to use the app to get it, but you get it free if you spend $1. I don't quite understand why they put it that way, but there you go. You have to spend $1 and you get a free
Do we have an idea of what the items will be?
Yes.
I think they are like Big Macs and quarter pounders and.
But what makes them Mariah like? Is there a piece of hair in them or something?
It's a brilliant piece of vaporware marketing nothingism. It's the Big Mac.
But you think about like celebrity endorsements and like people having their own perfumes and things like that. Why would Mariah go with McDonald's? It seems sort of down market for her a little bit.
No, it's money, honey. Travis Scott did
how much do you have to pay Mariah to be your spokesperson? I mean,
Travis
I
Scott
imagine
supposedly made 20 million. BTS made 10 million. I mean, 10 million's the going rate. So. And if
I imagine Mariah, 10 million for Mariah is, a drop in the bucket.
I think she'd take it. I'm so confused because I saw a little bit of headlines about this, and I thought for sure at least they'd have extra pickles or something, Mariah E.
She talked about her love of extra pickles on her cheeseburger, but no, there's no extra pickle burger. It's
I saw that Saweetie is her name, Saweetie, the pop star. She did one with McDonald's, and they had Saweetie and sour sauce.
Yes. I love a pun. At least there's a pun there.
And then, did you see the image they used for Mariah Carey? It's extraordinary. She's standing in the ocean in a red dress in the surf, and then sort of out mid-ocean is a giant McDonald's sign. What does it mean? And everybody on Twitter was going, what is going on? And they said, there must be a McDonald's in Atlantis. So
remember at the very end of what was the movie with Kristen Wiig and Reba McEntire as it comes out of the ocean? Blake, what was that?
The Barb, the vacation thing.
Trish and Barb, yes. They said that it was her Trish and Barb moment. But then there was another ad for it, and it's a cutout of her, like very obviously photoshopped, where she's standing in front of McDonald's in like a red gown, and it's the weirdest thing. The advertising is bizarre.
I think it feels very Japanese to me. It feels very future, how we're going to market things just to be bizarre, just to catch your attention.
And it worked.
She is the empress of the holidays, so it makes sense to me.
Even the video she recorded, it looks really cheap. It's like it's just the whole thing is bizarre. It's bizarre, but it's great. I mean, it's got our attention, and I'm forever grateful for Mariah, who really is the spirit of Christmas, right? I mean, she just is.
I wonder if all the value meals are number one value meals because she has so many number one hits. So it's Mariah's number ones.
There you go.
Just a thought.
But she owns Christmas. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. It's World of Wonders Black Friday sale today, by the way. Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday right now, in other words. 30% off store-wide at the WoW store, 20% off an annual subscription to WoWPresentsPlus.com.
Get your authentic RuPaul ornaments and your what is the button?
The shade button.
The shade button. Get your shade buttons, everyone.
That's right. Blake, have you got a question?
I do. T-shirts. Yeah, and t-shirts. And you can go to store.worldofwonder.com to get to the store and to get to WoW Presents Plus.
Wow.
That makes you say wow. Speaking of Black Friday, the term Black Friday originated in what U.S. city? It was in the 50s. I'll give you that hint.
Hmm.
Although
Oh.
I don't think that really gives you much, but there you go.
All right.
We'll be right back with the answer after the break. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And welcome back to the Wow Report. I am Fenton here with James St. James and Tom Campbell and Blake Jacobs. You had a question for us, Blake?
I did. It's Black Friday. So I want to know how did we get the term Black Friday? What U.S. city did it originate in the 1950s?
Black Friday, I believe, used to mean in retail that they would finally turn a profit on Friday, but after Thanksgiving, when people started shopping for the holidays.
You would no longer be out of the red, you'd be into the black.
And I think I'm thinking department stores, 50s. I'm thinking Chicago.
I was thinking Chicago too, but I was also thinking St. Louis too. Or maybe like B. Altman's in Chicago, probably, yes.
Fenton?
I have no idea.
I'm going to throw in Detroit too, just as we're putting a couple in.
I mean, those are good guesses. And I did see that about the going into the black. And maybe I think they changed the connotation of it from this. But police officers in Philadelphia were the first to link Black Friday to post-Thanksgiving because large crowds of tourists and shoppers came into the city the day after the Thanksgiving for Army and Navy football game, creating chaos, traffic jams, and shoplifting. So all policemen had to work on that day. So they called it Black Friday.
I did not know, Blake, you find somewhat factual information that surprises me all the time.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah.
I scour the internet for this.
So it's not a positive thing. It's a negative thing. The positive thing is they're making money, and the negative thing is they're looting us.
Right. Well, I think the cops came up with the term because they didn't want to have to work the day after Thanksgiving, especially this hard. So they called it Black Friday. But
all right.
We are doing our special gratitude edition of things that we are grateful for. We've reached number 7.
Number 7.
All right. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I only really do 3 things in life, and one of them is sleep. And the other is I work, and I love my job, and I love working at World of Wonder. And in this past year,
suck up. You think you're getting a bigger bonus for that?
I hope so. We'll see. I don't get gifts, so I have to actually, earn my money, James. No, but it's RuPaul's Drag Race, which I know it's everyone's used to it. Some people are sick of it because there's so much of it. I have been able this year. There's so many more versions, and it is the effort of so many people. They say that that success has many mothers and failure has one. And but there are so many people responsible for RuPaul's Drag Race. I am one of those people, but there are like 50 people that are part of RuPaul's Drag Race's origin, starting most with RuPaul, Randy Fenton with RuPaul forever, and the queens and Chris McKim and Stephen Korff and Mandy Salangzang. And when you start with Theron and when you start to mention people, you get in trouble because you run out, and there's the crew and
the moment you stop, you're in trouble.
Yes. And on. And I will do a separate show on thanking everyone. But this year, personally, I have been able to be on location shooting 7 different incarnations of RuPaul's Drag Race in 3 countries. I have traveled literally around the world because of RuPaul's Drag Race during one of the sort of bleakest, periods and pandemics. Traveled safely. I've worked safely, and I've got to, and what it happens every year, but this year I'm just more appreciative, or I'm just, when you get to be a certain age, things kind of circle around, and but we've had, heads of state on the show. We've had celebrities I've dreamed of meeting, and how yucky meeting a celebrity usually is. Like, you can't fan off on them because they don't want to hear it. They've heard it a million times. They don't care who you are, But in Drag Race, I get to have these small, intimate conversations prior that, first of all, they're excited to be there. They're excited to participate. I'm so thrilled that they're there because I think any celebrity proves to be an ally to the show. You know, it's like the show, the queens of the show, but the celebrities are just there just to say, you know, hey, pay attention to this. This is fun. I watch at home and you should watch. And to be able to sort of open the door, crack the door to the chocolate factory, to all these celebrities, and just share that moment and be able to sort of share our enthusiasm for them. It never gets old. And maybe that sounds cringy and awful, and I'm sorry if it does, but I am incredibly grateful that I get to, in my high school valedictorian speech, which I stayed up all night and had a huge 2-liter of Pepsi to do it. It was really radical. But I looked for a quote because people use quotes and I didn't know. So it was Khalil Gibran. You know Khalil Gibran?
Yes.
Which is totally corny. And there's
The
thin
prophet,
books.
yes.
Because I still didn't like to read then. And one of his quotes is, "Work is love made visible." And it struck me in my car the other day that I love what I do. Sure, it comes with some crap and some things I don't like to do, but I
weren't loving it this morning.
I was a little crappy this morning, but work is love made visible, and I get to do something I love and work on a show that I think ultimately sends out a message of love and acceptance and representation. So again, as cringeworthy that all may have sounded, it's sincere, and I'm grateful for RuPaul's Drag Race.
Well, Tom, I just have to add, I'm grateful to you because you are the voice in Ru's ear and you bring so much of your genius and creativity to the show day in, day out. And it is just so much fun to be in a control room with you because like there's one show on the screen and then there's another show going on in the control room. There are Diana Ross videos, there are jokes, there's Liz Taylor's dirty old panties. It's fabulous. So thank you for that.
That's there. Thank you. Very, very sweet. And I also want to say, this is a plug, but a spinoff of RuPaul's Drag Race. And there's so many opportunities that Drag Race has given the queens. There's We're Here on HBO, but the one show that I want to urge you to watch, and it's on now, is Painted with Raven. This is something that we came up with when we were in England and Raven was painting RuPaul's face and we were in the control room and in isolation. We sort of, came up with the idea on both coasts, but like how to do this. And it's the first reality competition show where the contestants never have to leave their home, and it's face painting contest. And I helped put it together with a bunch of other people. Sand produced it. Steve Sims produced it. Raven's a big part of it. Theron's a big part of it. So many people part of it. But I finally watched an episode, the first episode. I got a sneak preview. It's so good. It's so, what's missing is the walking around and the bending over a table or something, but like, who cares? All the personality and the artistry. These people are so incredibly talented, and Raven's born to do this and is dry as a paper towel. I don't know what she's dry as, but her humor cuts right through. RuPaul's the guest on the first episode, but Raja comes on. I'm doing a plug, but I'm doing a plug as somebody who saw the first episode and am obsessed, and it goes by so quickly, and it's gonna be on Wow Presents Plus.
There you go. It's on. It debuted on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh my gosh.
James, what have you got at number 6?
Number 6.
What are you plugging?
Well, I'm gonna gush a little bit about World of Wonder too, and I'm gonna be just as cringy as Tom. I can be just as cringy as Tom, and I want to promote myself just like Tom promotes himself. So I'm just going to say that I am thankful for Night Fever, the podcast that I did this year with Randy Barbado and Fenton Bailey. And we had a heck of a time doing it. We had a wonderful time. I worked most of the summer on it, doing interviews with New York nightlife legends of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. And then we edited it and we got it up in the fall. And the numbers, I was looking at the numbers the other day, and they are very respectable. And I am very excited. We have started on season 2, and we hope to get that up in February, I think. It was something that, I balked a little bit about doing it in the beginning. With
that
Fenton,
sounds like James.
when it was Fenton's idea. And, but it was a way of reconnecting with people that I've known for probably 30, 35 years plus years. And, people that I've known and I've respected and I've really loved, and getting to talk to them again, people like Diane Brill and Rudolph and Peter Gation and Moby and just a lot of Louis Extravaganza, just all these people really had a lot to say, and a lot of really, it was a lot of just really fun conversations. There was a lot of fun memories that we all parties we remembered, things that we did, and a lot of just meaty conversation there. And I really, I think if you haven't had a chance to watch it, now is the time to binge watch it on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, or watch it on Wow Presents Plus, because that's more fun than listening, because you get to see everybody's eye rolling. And
is episode is season 2 going to be the same? Is there new territory to cover, or what's your plan?
Well, the audio will be better. I can promise you that. We've been working on doing some fixes. We have some surprise guests that I think are really exciting. We are trying to open it up a little bit in just tone a little. So I
was going to say, James, I actually think that it's almost a bottomless pit, because
Yes.
this whole tranche of social history, I don't think anyone's really told it before.
Yeah.
And I remember quite clearly, we've been thinking about Party Monster and revisiting that story. And, we've been filming with you for years with Michael Ailig, rest in peace. And it was after that, I was actually talking to Tom in New Zealand. We were climbing the hill. I remember the hill, and we were both gasping for breath as we were going up this hill. And I was like, we should just do these interviews, and James should interview these people. And to me, it's like I keep on thinking, we got to do this one, we got to do that one. It's like,
well, when we first came up with it, when we were first talking about the idea, we all sat down and wrote a list, and we came up with like 120 people just off the top of our heads, that these are people we need. And then after that, I'm sure there's another 120 people that, I mean, you're right that it can go for years and years and years. And if anyone feels like left out, rest assured you are on a list. You are definitely on a list. And we are coming for you.
I love it.
That is Night Fever. Listen to the first season of Night Fever wherever you podcast. Okay. Welcome to my face. That's what I'm talking about. 10, 9, what number are we on? 6. No, 5.
Number 5.
Number 5. Welcome to my face. Taking a leaf out of the James St. James Transform playbook. Injectables. I just feel badly, because you are giving all such lovely, selfless, worthy things. And I just discovered the joy of Juvederm for
what do you have? I don't
Where'd
know
you get
this.
it done? Break it down.
Okay, so my journey started off with Botox. And I kind of thought, that's kind of interesting. And now, as you can see, I can't move my face. And I've done that. I have an immobile face. But then, as beauticians are wont to do, she was saying, well, you could really do with a little, I'm not saying, she's like, a little bit of injectables here or there. And I thought, well, I have a fear of needles. But she did it. And she said, it's not going to hurt a bit. And she lied, because it did hurt. But they put the Novocaine into the stuff they inject into your face. So as it goes into your face, it numbs it. And then suddenly it's a party in your face, because you don't feel a thing. And you're like a human pincushion. Go, psh, psh, psh. I liked it so much, I went back and got more. And
take your glasses off, and let's see, because it's your cheek, the balls of your cheek up here. Is that where it is?
Really, the best place, it's the puppet lines, which is like here, from the mouth down to the bottom of the jaw, and then from the bottom of the nose down to the top of the mouth. The labial folds. And
I need those labial folds.
But don't they fill it here so it'll lift, or they fill the fold?
They do a little bit onto your cheekbone, which builds out the cheekbone, which lifts the face. And I tell you, I kind of want to go back and get more. I mean,
is this the first time?
Twice.
How often? How long in between?
About 3 weeks. But I mean, they will last for maybe a year or more. But I was so excited after the first thing, I went back for more, and she said, "Well, if I give you more, you're going to start having chipmunk cheeks." And I was like, "Yes,
you're
bring
going to
it
start
on."
getting you're gonna get Muppet face, is what I
You
call
are
it.
Jocelyn Wilderstein, just waiting to burst out.
You know
You're
what?
Madonna
I
is who
am.
you are. You're Madonna with that triangular face.
I think yes, it's but a hop, skip, and a jump for I'm going to be like getting my face removed and pummeled and then put back on my skull.
I go back and forth. I did some Botox, and my face eats Botox. I think I was going to the same person you were going to for a while, and she looked at me like, I'm so scared. I've never seen anyone whose like face ate up the Botox so quickly. So I'm too cheap and too lazy to go as often as I needed to. But when you do get something done, you kind of want people to be like, hey, you got something done.
Well, definitely. I believe in talking about it. Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you're supposed to be sort of me, fellas. I don't need fellas.
You know,
but I'm
well, I got some Juvederm about probably 7 years ago,
Hmm.
and I had a little bit in my cheeks and a little in some. I had some acne scars that they filled in, and the thing is, you know, they say that it disappears, or that it sort of dissolves. It doesn't. It will float around your face, and like every once in a while, you'll feel something, like you'll feel like a lump,
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you press at it, it's moved down into your jaw or something. This will
So
happen
you-
like 2 years from now. It'll just be a little tiny bit, but you'll just feel like a little something, and then you press it, and it goes away, and then it'll reform somewhere else. It's very weird, but you will find yourself playing with lumps in your face for
Now
years.
you'll have the tweaker in me always pushing toward my cheekbones.
There,
To-
yes,
to-
and you
to-
yes, you do. You can if you're before you go out at night, you can push it, you can plump it up and make sure that it all is nice.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's take a break. Blake, do you have a question?
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of a give-in, but it's a must-ask since it's Black Friday. Which retailer is the most dangerous place to shop on Black Friday?
I think you've asked this one before. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy. We'll have the answer right after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report, to our special Thanksgiving edition of things that we are grateful for. Blake, what was the question before the break?
Yeah, it's Black Friday, so which retailer is the most dangerous place to shop on Black Friday?
Well, 1, 2, 3.
Walmart.
Bye.
Oh,
Best Buy. Oh, I was saying Walmart.
I was going to say
What is it?
Macy's.
You said Macy's. Oh, we've all had different things. Oh, that's funny. I say Walmart. You say Best Buy. You say Macy's.
I said the Best Buy in Philadelphia.
It's Walmart.
James,
Yeah.
you're always right.
That's why there's always those videos, from Walmart of people fighting.
Yeah.
Walmart, from Arkansas, my home state.
Yeah, years and years ago, we might have to cut this, but years and years and years ago, I met a drug dealer. I was meeting him, and he said, "Meet me in the Walmart parking lot." We didn't realize that it was Black Friday just as it was starting, and it was one of the most terrifying. I mean, I really fought to get my drugas that night.
I'm not cutting that out.
Paranoid much? Paranoid much, James, in that part?
That's the best part of the show. We can't cut that out. We're counting down the top 10 things that we are most grateful for, or just simply grateful for. And we've reached number 4.
Number 4.
I feel like we've tiptoed on this subject close to it, this thing, but I am incredibly grateful for, and I'm already taking for granted, vaccinations. The vaccination. It was not long ago. It wasn't a year ago that we were all lying in bed at home. I was lying in bed, home, alone, talking to relatives far away, wondering would there ever be a cure? Would we ever things return? Washing our lettuce, washing our groceries, washing our hands, being afraid to touch the banisters in our own homes, even though we live alone and no one had been here. And now that's all changed. And, again, we traveled to Fenton and I to New Zealand and UK and back without vaccinations, being very, 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 very careful. But now I'm going to New York for pleasure for the first time, and I've been twice vaccinated and I got my booster. So that doesn't make me invincible. And my sister sent me an article that somebody said, you can still get it. And I'm like, so I want to weigh things, and I'm having dinner with my my dear friends, the Hans mother, who, I just want to make sure but there's a doctor in the family. I'm just trying to figure out what my behavior should be, so I'm not putting people at risk.
What your comfort level is around.
And what my comfort level is
yeah.
for me. Yeah.
Are you going to go to the theater, to Broadway?
I've decided I am. And I wasn't going to, and I thought I've got the booster, which is what this is all about. It's going to have, sunk in, become active. You have to prove that you have had vaccination. Everyone does. And you have to wear a mask. And I have plans to see a couple of things, which I'll hopefully talk about when I come back. But again, won't get into the controversy of people who don't believe in vaccinations, but it's such a good thing to do, not just for yourself, but for other people.
So that we can get an end to this. It is interesting that I was at the theater. I was at the Grove last weekend, and you have to prove vaccination to get into a theater. You had to prove vaccination to get into a few stores. I mean, they were there. It feels good that people are being vigilant about this. And I cannot wait to get my booster.
For me, this whole pandemic was about hospitals being overwhelmed and the medical system crashing and no one being able to do well and people dying needlessly and quickly. And that seems, for the most part, there's exceptions, but for the greater part, that's no longer a thing, or that's something we can control with vaccination. And it's not even about me. It's about, I was at the Starbucks and I ended up taking my order and I sat down with it with a friend instead of going out. And the Starbucks person came over and said, I'm sorry, I didn't ask you, but do you have your proof of your vaccination? And, for that second, you're like, I can't believe he's asking me. And it's like, of course he's asking me, and how efficient he's being. And then I thought, it's for him. He's there all day. He doesn't want two clowns who haven't had vaccinations, jawing at the coffee counter while he's working there. So I was just so grateful that I have had this, that science backs it up, that they figured out a way to get it out. I mean, there's so much was done. So much was in place beforehand to make it happen so quickly, but it's still a monumental undertaking. And my last grouse, my gratefulness turns into grousing very quickly, is people who are like, well, they keep changing the rules. It's like, yeah, because they're figuring it out. Well, last month you had to do this and now you have to do this. Yeah, they're figuring it out. They're not messing with you. They're not messing with you. They're figuring
people
it out.
Saying that they're waiting for more information. We're getting more information all the time. So pay attention to it.
Millions of people have taken it. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you, science. Thank you,
Well, you guys are a little bit older than me, so you have both had your boosters, but I am getting my booster this week because they're opening it up to people under 60. So, so I know you guys already had yours.
That's it. This show was going so well, so cool, civil.
I know we were doing so well. We were being so nice, and then
James, you haven't seen me in person in over a year. For all you know, I live in a basket. This is just my head and shoulders in a basket. You don't know my health. You don't know what I'm like.
That is the COVID vaccine. Number 4. James, number 3.
Number 3.
One of the things about the pandemic was that it gave me a little more time to spend alone and spend watching TV. And I have sort of realized that we are in a golden age of prestige TV right now. And there's so many, this year, there were so many amazing TV shows to watch. When you think of, Succession, which we talked about last week, I am all in on Succession. I am obsessed with it. It is the best show on television. It is appointment television. On Sunday, you watch it in real time. On Monday, you talk about it with your friends. It's spectacular. Mayor of Easttown, Hacks, The Undoing was this year as well. White Lotus, which was my favorite show of the year. The Great is coming back to TV this week, I see. The Crown, The Chair, Only Murders in the Building, Dope Sick, which I'm doing this weekend on Hulu. I don't have Disney Plus, but I know Loki and WandaVision, everybody is going bananas. And it's not prestige, but I'm going to put in Squid Game. I'm gonna say Squid Game is up there with the best that we've got, and it has all been I've had so much fun just by myself watching TV this year, and I think I've brought something it brings something to the show that when you have really good shows.
You're right. And it's sort of magical, isn't it? That there would be this golden age of TV at a time when we are all obliged to stay in and watch it.
We need it the most is when it appeared. Yes.
Right. That is a weird thing. Number 2.
Number 2.
Actually, related to this, I discovered, James, a YouTube channel called Kurzgesagt, which is German word for in short or in a nutshell. And you have to watch these. They are little videos, like, 10, 15 minutes long, and they're all animated. But they're graphics, and that it's like if Andy Warhol just made cartoons his whole life. It's crossed with some kind of Nickelodeon show. There's something so satisfying about the design and the colors that alone is mesmeric. But what they're doing in this series is they're explaining things, the sort of things that you sort of feel you should understand, but if you're really honest with yourself, you don't, like quantum physics or black holes or the day the dinosaurs died or what happens in a wormhole or string theory or the history of automation. There's 105 of these videos and I am completely addicted. And it was Elliot who turned me on to it, because I said to Elliot loves watching YouTube. And I said to him the other day, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? He said, I want to be a YouTuber. So
I love it.
But I saw him watching this thing, and he was watching about how to build a Dyson machine. I'm like, Elliot, you're 6 years old. What is this?
Wait, so Elliot is an expert on wormholes and string theory and evolution? I love it.
And they're so brilliant at just explaining these complex things in a way that is sort of funny, but not shticky, not too like infantile. Just really clear, accurate information. Their most watched video actually was about coronavirus. It's been watched something like 36 million times. But I tell you, go watch these channels. They're so good.
Spell it for me. Kurzgesagt, what is it?
Kurzgesagt. Kurzgesagt.
I just have to say, and I echo, the great Whitney Houston, I believe that children are the future, because I know if I were to watch these, my mind is a wet sponge. And it's like I would take it in and it would fall off. Like I would still not understand it later. But I love to hear that Elliot and young, I love, that's the dream of the internet, right? That when your brain is young,
finally doing something you want it to do.
And when you're young, you remember things and your impression when you have room and it sticks in, you can refer to it for the rest of your life. I have Petticoat Junction and That Girl. That's my earliest memory. But other than that.
I have dreams that Elliot and Nolan becomes a pie magnet and ends up like, who's the singer who has the pies?
Patti LaBelle?
Patti LaBelle, that he's like Patti LaBelle and he has a pie empire, and then Elliot becomes the goth child, the goth physicist is what I'm hoping for. That's what carries on the Bailey name.
I hope so too. That would be marvelous. Let's take a quick break. It's our Black Friday sale at World of Wonder. Thanksgiving today, in other words, yesterday, through Cyber Monday, right now, in other words, 30% off store-wide, 20% off an annual subscription to Wow Presents Plus. And I gotta tell you, there's some great originals. We talked about one on the show a little bit earlier, Painted with Raven. What is it, Tom?
It's the first competition show where the contestants never have to leave their bedrooms, and it's a makeup contest. It's like RuPaul's Drag Race for makeup artists, and it's all done virtually, but there's guests, and it's again just tremendous, full of art, full of personality, and the one and only Raven.
I also want to add that we're also doing for our Black Friday sale 15% off of your RuPaul's DragCon tickets for 2022 in Los Angeles. RuPaulsDragCon.com.
What? And that includes, I'm grateful for RuPaul's Drag Race, and I'm grateful for the vaccine because we get to have RuPaul's DragCon in May in Los Angeles, and the tickets are on sale. Anyway, I'm tying it all together, sort of.
On sale until Monday, so get them now.
Mm-hmm. We'll be there. We'll all be there.
With bells on.
Woo!
It's a hot new designer, bells on.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, the number one thing that we are most grateful for.
You're You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hey, welcome back to the Wow Report. This is our Thanksgiving episode of gratitude, and we have just been giving thanks for things. I mean, really, we are the luckiest bitches on the planet, and happy to be here. And thank you, all of you, for listening to us year in, year out. I think we've done something like 278 shows or something. So, but what is the number one thing that we are most grateful for?
We are grateful
Number one.
for December 2nd. That's right. Christmas comes early this year, or the holidays, or Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, because we have not one, but two, to start with, big premieres happening December 2nd. The first is the first ever Drag Race movie. It's a holiday movie. It's called The Bitch Who Stole Christmas. And guess who that bitch is? Is RuPaul.
She came to slay.
Yes. And
well, wait a minute, because Ru has been being the Christmas bitch for about 30 years, because wasn't that first special, the London special, didn't she come into a boardroom dressed in a, wasn't she really, went there?
in RuPaul's Christmas Ball from 1994,
Yes.
RuPaul and LaToya Jackson did a double act where they were in identical wigs and red dresses.
RuPaul is like Dolly Parton. He has a persona. He has some lines. He has a message of love that doesn't need to change with the times. That is eternal and gleams on and on and on. It's a hilarious movie. It also stars Krista Rodriguez, who, if you don't know her by her name, you're wrong. She was in Smash, which I love, season second, but she played most recently Liza in the Halston miniseries.
She was fantastic.
She's an incredible Broadway baby, and she's in it. And so are, and I'm going to forget names, but Ginger Minge, Brooklyn Heights. There's so many drag queen co-hosts. James Mansfield is outstanding. Will probably win.
Kim Petras is in it as well.
Kim Petras, Charo, Michelle Visage, Ross and Carson. It's perverted and wrong. It's if John Waters made a Hallmark movie and somehow it made the screen. It's there's no dog poo eating, but there could always be a sequel.
That's right.
Okay.
On the same day,
the other show is
that's on VH1, and the second show is executive producer Ray RuPaul, and it's called Queen of the Universe, and it's the first all drag, all singing competition that's truly out of this world. Okay, that's from the script. It's like American Idol, but draggier and over the top, and we pack so much in the production values. We have singers from all over the world. They come to London to this incredible stage where Graham Norton is the host, and our judges, our pop diva panel, include Michelle Visage, Trixie Mattel, Vanessa Williams, and Leona Lewis, and they are all gorgeous and beautiful. And
I think you can safely say it is the gayest show we've ever done.
It makes Eurovision look like football, NFL.
Well, and very quickly, that on December 2nd, we also have a new Painted with Raven, and we also have a new episode of Drag Race Italia, I believe. And we also, on December 2nd, one of the most important reasons to celebrate is it's Britney's 40th birthday as well. So it is an international holiday, and it is a cornucopia of fun that we can have that day. So we're all very thankful for December 2nd, which is coming up very soon.
Fenton, don't say it out loud, but remember we had an idea for a special for the said star? Don't say it out loud if you remember. We need to repitch that directly to said star.
We should absolutely pitch that.
As soon as this is over. Okay. Done. Sorry. Thank you, James. Thanks for the
I'm going to wrap the show up right now so we can get on the phone and pitch. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, James. Thank you, Blake. I think the thing I am most grateful for is the three of you here today at this point.
It really is. No, you got to just say it. It really is nice that we get to just sit around and it's ladies who lunch. We just sit around and we get to gab once a week. It's very nice. I really do enjoy our time together.
I have a quick question, a cliffhanger. When might we all be doing this from the same location?
I don't think
time
ever. I'm going to
soon.
say never because I don't ever want to be photographed from the side again. I never want to silhouette. You, Tom, have the only seat worth doing. I know you're excited because you want to be back in the middle seat again. I will never go back to being Alfred Hitchcock silhouette.
James St. James presents.
Plus, it's just too close. That huddle in the window. We're all sort of sharing COVID vibes.
Kissing that dirty mic. Hello, how are you?
And that had that dirty mic that had that old saliva smell.
But I think what Tom was really getting at is buy your tickets this weekend to RuPaul's DragCon.
Thank you for bringing it back to the
And
business.
if you do that, and if you opt to tick the box where you make a $5 donation to Extraordinary Families, World of Wonder will also make a donation to Extraordinary Families, which is a fabulous adoption agency out here in LA. So,
and for those of you listening who are chugging a drink every time we did a self-promotion, you are drunk. You need to pull over right now. You're out of
put your
mind.
fingers down your throat right now. Happy holidays, everyone. In the meantime, go out and do something that makes the world go wow. We'll see you same time, same place next week.
Yay! Happy Thanksgiving, gobble, gobble, gobble.